You know when you see people talking about why a handmade item can be quite costly, and they give you a breakdown of the materials that's been purchased, the time that's gone into creating it, and you begin to understand why a handmade item can be quite costly. You see a lot of people in the Larp community a lot of the time sharing posts like that, and I think that's good to do that. I think it's good that LARPers on the whole support that and spread the message. I think it's good because sometimes you mightn't realise why it's expensive until you have that breakdown. And I've seen traders in the past get very, very angry, understandably, when someone has posted up a picture of something that trader has made and they're asking, can anyone make this but cheaper than I found it here? I understand that you might want the item, you might have the money to spend on that, and I've got sympathy for that. But you are just robbing a trader's work there and asking for a knockoff, and I don't like that. That's not good. As I say, I think it is good that the LARP community will jump on that and shout it down when they see it, or most LARPers will, I think. But I found myself quite baffled that LARPers don't do that in very, very similar circumstances. In fact, often LARPers will do the opposite. They're actually ready to cheer it on and throw their money at it. And what am I talking about? Well, imagine if I set up a LARP that's based in a courtroom. And you can play a judge or a lawyer or the defendant or the jury or a key witness or whatever. The courtroom characters you can think of that you could play. I realise a courtroom's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think you could probably understand why that will work in a LARP setting. I think that's fine. But now imagine if I call it Boston Legal or Boston Legal LARP. Now, I'm a big fan of Boston Legal. I think it's a great show. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's very good. But it's not mine. I don't own it. I shouldn't use Boston Legal, especially when I could just take the inspiration from that show and a few other shows. I might be able to add a whole police side of it in where they go and do the investigation and it leads to the courtroom and things like that. And I don't know, call it LARP law or something like that. I think that would be okay. You've taken inspiration from things. That's fine. I think every storyteller ever takes inspiration from something. Perhaps I could word this better. Imagine if I make a game where you play soldiers and you go off fighting aliens on some far off planet somewhere in the galaxy, and I'm going to call the soldiers the mobile infantry. You're incredibly expendable. No one really cares about you. But the occasional one of you might get special abilities, like psychic abilities, and you'll rise up the ranks quick and become the officer corps and become very, very important to the military. Now, if you haven't noticed already, that's Starship Troopers. A film I thoroughly enjoy. I think it's very cool. And I'd love to LARP something like that. If you get the big monsters somehow, that'd be amazing. But it would be wrong to do so because I don't own Starship Troopers. I could take inspiration. You can take it from the Alien franchise as well with Colonial Marines, and you take these inspirations and put them into something unique, and you create the world and the background and the organisations and the laws and all these things, and really, really create something. Then cool. But if you just say, you know what, I'll just use Starship Troopers and we'll do that. That's not just lazy writing, it's outright plagiarism. And I'm doing my best here not to name any LARPs that just outright plagiarise. But this is one of the reasons I don't tend to LARP anymore. One of the many reasons. That there's a double standard in the community, and when it comes to costume creation and buying your bits and bobs, we all defend the traders. And Larp wouldn't be very good without the traders at all. So yeah, great, defend the traders. I completely agree. Why do we let the writers, the people who are actually creating the LARPs to go and play, do the same shit? Why are we okay with that? And the thing is, one day I think it's going to bite LARP in the arse very, very hard. If you want to run this sort of LARP and you get the permission off the people who own the rights to the TV show or the book or whatever it is that you'd like to directly use, then great, you've got the permission, that's fab. But to players out there, just because a LARP says it has doesn't mean it has. Get them to prove it. If you are, I don't really want to call you a writer, if you're one of the people who organises these sort of games, I think you're lazy. Even if you've got the permission, to be honest, I think you're still a bit lazy. Go and make your own world. You might make fantastic games. You might make some of the best games that are out there, but it's still really poor to do. But look, players out there, I think you should be proactive in standing up against that sort of thing. Get them to write something original.